Hey guys, I wanted to make this video for a lot of business owners, especially the coaches who are failing to innovate. And you know that if you're not innovating, then you're failing and you're headed for bankruptcy. Because the people who are innovating in your space and niche are going to out compete you in just a few years if you don't innovate yourself. This is a this is a crucial thing to do. The thing is, most people are stuck in copying others. They think all the answer lies within others, and if they can just steal something from others and then steal something else from this person, then they will achieve the business growth that they're aiming for. But that is rarely the case. See, innovation is needed. And let me ask you something. When was the last time you innovated? Tell me. When was the last time you worked on your product or your service? And how long is it that you've how long has it been that you've copied other people's products or service or their message? See, we tend to steal other people's ideas and we think about that quote that uh that Pablo Escobar, I was gonna say Pablo Escobar, but Pablo Picasso said that steal like an artist. We justify it by saying that we're stealing like an artist, but that is not the solution for our business growth. If you want to make more money, if you want to add more income, extra $50,000 to your name, you need to innovate your business. There's no other way. And innovation isn't what you expect. It's not to launch your own iPhone. It's not to launch your own Facebook. It's not to fly rockets to Mars. It's not that. See, innovation is basically to change your product, and I'll get into the intricacies of it. But I want you to ask yourself that are you going to stay like this without innovating? Because if you do, and you give yourself 2 to 3 years, your business is bound to fail. And the people who are competing with you, all of your competitors, if even one of them is innovating, then he's going to outpace you. And not only that, he's going to wipe the entire existence of your business because of how many miles ahead he will be just because of one thing, which is innovation. Now, let me guide you through all the types of innovation, and I've actually labeled it across two types: micro innovation and macro innovation. But how do you innovate in the first place? First of all, you need to sit alone in a room without any people, without screens or distractions, and just face the ceiling. And all you have to do is to get your phone in that room, but be sure to turn it in on airplane mode and switch off all notifications. If you can do that, just grab a piece of paper and a pen and just sit in silence and do it for at least an hour a day. That's it. Now all you have to do is ask yourself questions. Start mentally going through each system that you have in your business, whether it's the sales call or your client acquisition, or even the content that you need to create, the course modules, or the client delivery, or fulfillment of your client, or the deliverables that you provide. All of these are systems. You need to first pack them into your system. If you're mentally thinking of them as separate things, pack them into one system, like sales, communication, deliverables. Once you've done that, you go over each system one by one, and then you ask yourself the holy grail of questions. How can I make it better? You ask yourself just this: how can I make it better? And you have to go, how can I improve this? How can I adjust this? You just need to ask this open-ended how and what questions. And the nature of these questions is that the answer will appear, and they will open the gates of this knowledge, and the answers will flood into your head. That is the beauty of asking these open-ended how and what questions. How can I improve? What can I add? How can I improve? These how and what questions are crucial. So now, for the weekly calls and for the client deliverables, you can think to yourself, how can I make how can I deliver to my clients in a more effective way? And then you can dive deeper into that, and you can ask more questions like how can I say this exact same thing without repeating myself, or say the exact same thing with fewer words, or how can I pack more value in less time, and what can I add more without putting much effort, and what can I add, what can I remove that is taking away the value and time from my deliverables. And if you go like this, you will start to see that the answers will appear like an answer is appearing to me. Like whenever I ask myself, what can I remove that is taking away the value and time when it comes to the delivery of the clients where I'm on the weekly call. So the exact answer that is coming to my head is to not allow people to go on a 2 to 3 minutes rants. And you see a lot of clients, they whenever they need to ask a question, they preface it by going on a big huge 5 minutes rant and tell all about the story and how they're doing this or that, and then the question comes in, and they can ask the question in less than 30 seconds, the same question, but they're beating around the bush, they're adding a lot of nuance and a story and elements to it, which just takes away the time. And if you let it pass away, which most of these introvert coaches do, and you don't enforce the boundary, then every client of yours is going to ask the same questions. It's going to add 5 minutes per client. If you're getting 60 clients, then you can calculate how much time it's going to take. So an hour of a call will take you around 2.5 hours, just because you haven't said anything, just because they're your clients, they've paid you, and you feel in that in you feel this guilty feeling inside of you that if you stop them, or if you just assert yourself and tell them to just stick to the question, then it'll ruin the relationship. But that is rarely the case, and I teach the exact dynamics, and to assert yourself in an authoritative position where your clients respect you in a way that they start quoting you, and they start to respect you like a master. When we see in movies like Kung Fu Panda is respecting Master Shifu, and whenever he makes a mistake, he gets this guilty feeling that his master is disappointed in him, and he pushes hard just because he has a respect for his master. Now, it sounds weird to call ourselves a master when we're just mentors, but this answer came when I think about how can I pack more value in less time. And it is a win-win situation for you and your clients, that you're giving them more value in less time. So with this, you already got that you can enforce your boundaries and get more time and get more done in 1 hour of a call than you would in a 3 hour call. So that came from asking yourself the question, these how and what questions. And I only asked myself this question and the answer just appeared. And guess how many answers you can get in a day? And that's not even it. There's more to it. So, in the pursuit of asking yourself the question of how can you make things better? How can you deliver your existing clients better? How can I satisfy them even more? Now, one example of it is I came up with this genius idea of making these Notion template in which you share a document with your client, and you have all the information inside of them, where they can update it in real time. So if they're making $30,000 per month, they can update it, and you can set a new goal of $45,000, and you can gamify it by adding progress bars and these all these things that Notion have right now that just appeals to the human brain like a game, which allows your clients to act even more. And you can also add in the checklist for them to not be a people pleaser, like I said in the previous example, to not be a people pleaser to your clients, even though they might feel this tinge of just letting the clients take over and go on a huge 5 minute rant. So they can take it, they can work on it. It's like a homework assessment. They can do it, and then they can they feel like they've earned something. And you can also add XPs and all of these things that can gamify it, which would feel that the client is progressing, and he can see the progress as well. Now most people just wing it. They just ask on WhatsApp or Slack how much they're making, or they just check up on them. But if you do like this, it's different. It's unique, and not everybody does this. So your clients feel like they're not only they've paid you, not only you're giving them the best service, but also that they're playing a game with you, and they can see their progress, and it's going to boost them, and you can even upsell them, and you can build a better relationship with them. You can add more and more progress bars for them to complete one challenge, and then boost the difficulty to complete the other challenge. And that way they'll keep on going, and they'll have this energy all times. And if if it's not money, then it could be weight loss. You could make the goal of how much weight did they lose this week, and how much. What is the new goal for this week? You can really break this down to weeks, or even to 3 to 4 days, so they can feel the progress in a few days or in a week, instead of a long term thing. Because many people are stuck in their head. They are identifying the progress in their inside of their head, and they're just telling you on chats, which isn't very good. So if you gamify this like this, it'll be a game changer. And guess what? How did it come to me? When you start asking these questions, how can you make better? How can you make the service better? Then these questions start to appear. Another example I came up with is my genius sales call technique. See, if there are if somebody's on the fence, and you know you've tried everything to close them, but they're still on the fence, if you're being generous, if you got the time that day, and you want to go just all in, and you really want to innovate, what you can do is offer them a 15 to 30 minutes free consultation call. It's like they have given you the money, and they are your clients now. And now you solve a teeny weeny problem that they have, a really specific problem that they can really solve in 2 to 3 days max. Now you might be thinking, but they haven't even paid me, and this is out of the ordinary. I'm doing them a favor. Why would I just trade my time for somebody who hasn't even paid me? Well, this is the genius of innovating. You see beyond it, these things. People say time is money, but it is. But innovation is something else. You need to cling on innovation more than the other time is money tactic. So with this, what happens is, once they have done the thing that you've told them to do, once you've given them a homework to do, which they can achieve in 2 to 3 days. Once they've achieved that result, guess who are they gonna come back to? You. The chances of them rushing to you with the credit card in their hand and begging you to sign up for the program, and they could even apologize to you that they haven't been on the program on the last call, it's gonna blow your mind. And how genius of it is, that you only give them 15 minutes of your time to really consult them in a problem for free, and they can see the value, and it's like a free child that you're giving it to them. And nobody does this. Everybody thinks like this. Everybody says my time is valuable. Oh, like he's a CEO, he's a billionaire, and his time is worth multi-million dollars. But you can take these risks. You're not a millionaire. Even if you are, you can still take that risk. Guess what? If it means a high ticket client, 15 minutes is an investment to you. Think about it. Now, coming back to the innovation part, all of this came from just asking myself, how can I make things better? And how can I improve my sales call? Because I went to the system and I went to the system where the sales call system, and I thought to myself, how can I make better? Because the thing about sales call is that it feels weird. It feels bad when we get a no. But in this case, when we think that the client is gonna give us a no, and they're not being convinced, and they're practically saying no, we can turn it around by saying, okay, sure, it is a no for now, but can you at least do this? And once they do it, once they get the result, they associate the positive feeling of the result to you, and they come back rushing to you. Now, with that being said, it might not always happen, but the chances are high, and it is worth the risk. It is it is an investment, so treat it like one. And all of it came from just asking about the questions. How can I make it better? How can I improve it? What can I do? What is the one thing I can do to change this? What can I add? What can I remove? More often, it is the things that we can remove. Like I said with the example of telling people to telling your existing client to stick to the question. You're removing their long story. You're removing that friction and the time it takes, and that is providing value. So think of these things. Now, when you're considering all these things, when you're asking yourself these questions, it's important to keep in mind that the answers won't come right away every time. It might take a day. It might come when you're walking, when you're commuting to home. It might even come in your bathroom. A lot of my answers came in when I'm in the bathroom. That's why it's important for you to not take your phone inside your bathroom. That's where ideas come from. I'm telling you, it sounds weird and gross, but a lot of the six-figure ideas come from the bathroom. And you can also get it in the middle of the night. The idea of this video came in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep last night, and all I did was I was getting this bombardment of ideas that coaches are facing this problem, and they don't even realize this, that they're not innovating, that they're stagnant, they're copying other people, but they're missing the innovation, and that's why they're like just everybody else. That's why you don't see anybody unique. But so this came in the middle of the night. That's how that is how crucial it is. So you got to wait for the answers. And another thing is that remember told you to be in a relaxed state, that you got to preferably lay down and face the ceiling when you're thinking about these ideas, because you don't want to overthink them. Those are not ideas really. If you're overthinking them, then you need to stop right away. And the biggest indication I found that was that you get this strain over your eyebrows, uh, and whenever it comes, you need to relax it and you need to stop overthinking. That is your sign to stop overthinking. And I often found myself to have this strain over my eyebrow, and that's when the dumbest ideas come. Those ideas aren't worth anything. And it is when I'm relaxed, when I'm basically not even thinking about getting the ideas, that is when real ideas come. And you need to write them down quickly, because they fade away, they just evaporate really quickly, and you just end up thinking what they were. And I had this feeling so many times. A seriously good idea came into my head, but I I just didn't write it down. I was outside, and the circumstances were like that I couldn't write them down, and I could just I remember I was just overthinking the entire time just to get that idea back into my head, and it didn't come right away. Even by overthinking, then the idea come when I'm just in a relaxed state, when I'm not even thinking about it. So write these ideas down, and you gotta take action quickly. Just as how fast you gotta jot these ideas down, you also gotta take actions immediately. These are like revelations from God, and you need to act on them quickly. Now we're done with the micro innovation. Now there's a macro innovation as well. Now the thing with the macro innovation is that it is not for everybody. It is not for the weak. It's not for the faint-hearted. And I would only suggest to jump to macro innovation once you've mastered or once you've implemented a lot of the micro innovation in your business. When you have set your systems up with a lot of innovations, when you've create a checklist of each system where you're innovating each system, and there's a subsystem where you have a lot of innovations in that subsystem. But once you've done all of this, you can switch to the macro innovation, and this is a dangerously good method. So what even is it? Well, you gotta start questioning everything. You gotta stick to the who says rule to question everything that you're a part of, everything that you're doing, basically the entire system you're in. And this is where the industry trendsetters are born. This is where you innovate in a way that you set an industry standard. And the best part about it is that people start copying you because of how insanely innovative your approach is. When you become an industry standard, people are bound to copy you. People know that he is a pioneer, and I must do this to get the results he is getting. And that is insanely powerful, but it requires a lot of risk, because you need to ask yourself the who says questions. Like who says it has to be weekly calls? Why shouldn't I give? And who says it should be one weekly call or two weekly calls? Why can't I just check up on my people? Why can't I just call them out of the blue? Who says that? Who is given the blueprint? Why can't I just call them out of the blue and check on them? How's your progress? They'll feel more accountable. And how can I remove the layers of my team members? If your team members are the ones who are taking the accountability of your clients, what if you call them out of the blue? Notice how insanely good they'll feel that the owner is calling them, that the coach himself is calling them, and they'll feel this push to strive even harder for their goals. You see, I just came when I ask these questions, I just come with innovation. And who says that I have to be available all day for my clients? Many people make the mistake of being available 24/7 to their client. They're available on their WhatsApp. People have their number, and who says it has to be like that? Why can't you just set a few hours in a day where you can focus solely on innovating and not be distracted? Because if you're available all the time, you can't get things done. You need to be, imagine you're focusing on the thing, you're in the flow state, and your client pings you, and then you feel this responsibility to respond back to them. And if you're if you're super available and they want you to get on a call with them right there and then you have to leave your work and you have to leave the things you're doing in a focused manner, and you have to jump on the call and then cater to them. That breaks the flow state. And if that hour is dedicated for you to innovate, then it's gone. Then it's really, really gone. So you might think that it's crazy to think about these things, but everybody labels an innovator crazy before he changes the entire world, and the world starts following them, because if there's a trend, then people have to follow, and if you are setting the trend, then people have to follow you. So this is what I'm trying to say. You need to spend time to innovate, and you need to be innovating at least 80% of your time. Now, I know it might feel like a stretch, but at least give yourself 2 hours per day to innovate. 2 hours per day will be 60 hours a month. And if you're spending 60 hours a month innovating, meaning changing the things that are already existing, you'll be miles ahead from your competitors. And your competitors won't even see you coming. They won't even get the trail of you, because you'll be so miles ahead of them. But if even the micro innovation seems like a stress to you, when you get this weird feeling of discomfort, where you think that you'll appear in a negative way, or you'll stand out in a way where people will judge you, and your clients will judge you for changing the things that were already working for you, then it is not a matter of this feeling at all. It is a fear of success, and your body isn't. It is telling you to stop because it's fearing success. It is a form of self sabotage that you need to be aware of, identify, and really eliminate. And it is a shackle that holds back the income of so many business owners and coaches. So if you want to get rid of all of that, then I've made a video telling you how it's okay to win, and it's okay for you to have the spotlight, and it's okay for you to succeed. So I'll put that in the link in the description so you can watch that right now.